Hi guys, welcome to another exciting episode of RPA Feeds podcast show. Today I have with me Urvish Jain, which has around little over 18 years of experience into the IT industry. He started his career like any other techie would do as a software engineer, and then he rolled up to a director, a management level professional now. So he is currently working as a director in automation anyway. Passing it over to Urvish to hear a quick introduction, how he navigated his journey and reached to this level. Welcome, Urvish. Would you like to introduce yourself to the audience?
Sure. Thanks, Dipendra. First of all, thank you very much on having me on this show, and it's an honor. Thanks for this great opportunity. So, as Dipendra mentioned, like any other software engineer, I also started my journey as a developer in 2006. Step by step, gradually, I got into a lead role. I moved on to the lead and then an architect and then a director. I started my journey with Persistent Systems Limited and did developer work on .NET, and then moved into a next role into a analyst and lead in Infosys. I worked upon a lot of .NET-based application development support projects, and eventually tried something new with RPA, where Automation Anywhere gave me this opportunity to be the solution architect. And the journey continued by doing more and more stuff. And as Dipendra told, I'm here as a director of professional services at Automation Anywhere. So that's in brief. Dipendra.
Thanks, Urvish, for briefly introducing yourself. So what do you find exciting, like working as a, if you look back, like was it a software developer role that you would enjoy more, or kind of a tech lead, or the current management or like delivery? What if you look back, what exactly excites you the most?
See, and this is my perception, and everything that I speak is personally my opinion and my views. And if I look at being director, being into management, see, the current role for anyone, and I assume that it is for anyone, would be tough because you're going through it. You're going through the churn, you're going through difficulties. And when you look, hey, you know what, being an architect was more easy, bringing solutions was exciting. But when you are into that role, it's difficult, and you say, hey, being an individual contributor, a developer is more easy. You can spend 14 hours doing that. And when you're a developer, college life always excites that it was a free life. When you were in college, you feel that, the school life was better. So it's always the case. So never look into the past and say that was more easier, because it will always be, because we keep growing, right? That's what I look at. Enjoy the present, what you're working, because this is in some way the learning experience you're having. You always learn, and you will always learn when you are into the churn. Churn is good, pressure is good. You have to keep calm, keep moving, and keep exploring. And it's always that phase of life. In each phase of life, you will feel that the present is tough and the past was better.
Yeah, and thanks, Urvish, for that perspective that you shared. It's really true. If we look back in the past, it always seems easy because we have lived that already. So, guys, Urvish carries a rich set of experience into automation, RPA field. So, let's start with asking some of the questions from there. So, Urvish, would you like to share your biggest challenges and opportunities that you see in RPA and automation?
Okay. So I will break this question down into two. One is with respect to the technical part of it, and one being completely non-technical part of it. So from technical perspective, I think the challenges that usually come around is expecting more out of what RPA can do, and we're not yet there. So for example, if I look back into 5 years ago or 6 years ago when I joined Automation Anywhere, the expectation from RPA was it should ideally do everything that a human does. However, technically, that was not possible 100%, maybe 70% or 80%. But we are here right now where it is possible. What I think technically challenging, it will always be there, because expectations are 2 steps ahead. That is one thing. So if I look back and think of the most challenging work, it's not one particular thing that is very challenging. It's bits and pieces. I would say that back in time, like 4-5 years ago, we were working on an AngularJS automation. So there was no fixed set of rules that how do you automate a AngularJS UI, which was pretty exciting and challenging. We automated that. Sometimes applications like Oracle UI again back in time where it was pretty challenging because if you know RPA, there are IDs exposed in most of the web-based application, desktop-based application. You get IDs, you can quickly capture those with a recorder and bam, done. Earlier, when we talk about Oracle automation or Angular JS automation, I think the most important thing was ensure we observe the patterns, how the application works. You don't think like a user or just a plain developer. You think like an observer, because that's what you need to catch that particular instance to automate, because you need that one unique set of ID or a group of unique IDs that will make it capturable. So something like that was very exciting with Angular and Oracle UI desktop based application automation. And there were a couple of other instances where you get challenged that the performance is not good. And this is not one particular instance. There were multiple instances where I have seen that performance of the tool or performance of the automation being challenged. However, there are n number of underlying parameters and attributes and factors that contribute to the RPA automation, like your infrastructure, your VMs, VDIs, etc., how they are performing, what resources they have allocated to. So solving those are a bit challenging because it's more of convincing that you need to do, and with proper set of skills and proper logging, if you can create a good set of evidences, you can do that. So I would say the first part of technical part would be a good observation, pattern recognition, and having good knowledge about how application works and the infrastructure will give you a better perspective to automate a particular application.
Got it.
Now, coming to the second part, the most important thing on not just RPA for anything is the intent to do it. I think most of the developers, business stakeholders, anyone who's associated with automation or any application development, I feel is they do not, although they intend to do that, but that intent is not coming out with that rigor that they do want to solve the problem, they do want to fix it, they do want to complete it. Now, we have seen a lot of instances where, if it doesn't happen very quickly, pass on the buck. So I think if that intent is true, working as a team, if it can be done, can produce very good results. We have seen the successes as well in most of the cases, but in some of the cases, we have seen that if they lack intention and rigor of that intention, I think problems don't get solved so easily.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And Urvish, while you were speaking about that, I just one point I recollected. Basically, in RPA and automation, right, we build automations, but when it comes to a target application, a change in a target application, or the maintenance part of it, it's quite heavy. So what strategies do you follow, or what advice would you like to give based on your experience so that people can mitigate these things or plan these things ahead and better manage the situation?
Yeah. So again, what I would like to bring to the notice is when we are developing it, just don't develop with the intent to automate or develop it, right? Think a good developer and a good architect always thinks, in the future, how would this be used? How would this be maintained? How would this be supported? I can say, and anybody in this software field would easily say, there is no software which doesn't need maintenance, right? Even big platforms, named platforms do need, and when I'm talking about platforms, I'm also talking about the operating systems also need maintenance and support and upgrades, etc. So it would always be the case, but while we are on the application, on a particular piece of software or a bot or anything, ensure that we have a very good support. And when I say support, easier to support and easier to identify the problem what it is causing. So what is important from RP perspective is to have a very good logging mechanism so that troubleshooting is easy. And once the troubleshooting is really easy, right, the time to market to solve the problem gets reduced tremendously. And having a good detailed logs what you're doing by ensuring you're not putting data, but you're at the same time giving a hint of what could be the value that needs to be given to the support person, because you never know after the completion of project you yourself are supporting the same application, right? To make your own life easier and to make anybody else's life easier should be the intent.
Yeah, that's true. I totally agree on that point. Moving on to the next question, I have been hearing from the leaders or from the businesses who have implemented RPA or automations. So how they can effectively showcase the ROI, return on investment, from the automation implementations. So that's a challenge people face to calculate these kind of ROIs.
So when we talk about ROI, it in itself is a very huge subject because it's not a simple calculation although it appears to be so, but there are a lot of factors against it. So what I would say on top of all of this is how it is benefiting versus how it was being done a regular BAU without automation. If you do that, it would definitely be faster. It would definitely be cost effective. Sometimes it can yield results into millions of dollars of savings, and sometimes it could be few hundreds of dollars savings, but the value it gives to the end customer. Let's say I'm working for an organization A, which serves organization B, which serves their end customers. Not organization, let's say end customers, right? So if the ROI is not just that time saving, because it need not be a time saving thing, but the intangible outputs do really matter. When I say intangible benefits, it means let's say today I'll take a simple example. It's not an RPA automation, or it could be an RPA automation, but let's say I'm trying to buy my car policy insurance, right? Insurance policy online, and the moment it does all the things so fast in the background, just imagine when there was no automation, how it would have been done, right? So I think that the time to market and time to solve, the moment you click submit, after 5 minutes you get the policy, is something really good. So the return of investment is not just a number that you look at, but there is also a customer trust that goes in. So I will be trusting a company from where I'm buying policy multiple times, because I know that they are quick, they will help me. I think that customer experience, CX, the most important thing in all of these automations. And I think if it is giving more value, return of investment in terms of getting more business, a customer coming back again, does really matter. So in simple words, ROI is the net efforts you save plus the intangible benefits because of the CX it introduced is the actual ROI. And increase in the business would definitely give it a good
so you meant to say we should not always consider hard benefits. It should be hard plus soft benefits as well.
Yes. And sometimes you never know. Some of the businesses ignore those soft benefits, but soft benefits are way larger than the hard benefits.
Yeah. True. And I also see in this space, right? If you have a large state of bots and your 90% of bot running fine day in, day out, nobody cares. Only people care about those 10% that are breaking, why 10%. They are breaking. Yeah. So that's also
correct. Very true. Yeah. But again, if you look at those 10%, right? Since technically a lot of things are possible, you may possibly reduce that 10% to 6 or 7%. I won't say 1 or 2%, but definitely to 6 or 7% by further automating that, by using more patterns and more observations to reduce that overhead as well. And sometimes it's not the faulty automation. It could be a faulty requirement or a missing requirement that would do so. Because you're already 90%, right? You're running 90%, which is a very, very good number. 10% support and maintenance is something quite practical and easy to handle. But again, if we keep looking into how to optimize that, see, there is always scope of improvement in everything. So there is definitely scope of improvement in reducing that 10%. So I think that's possible. And if we keep that mentality of optimize, I think things keep on working fine.
Yeah, definitely. And I remember 4 years back or 5 years back when these concepts were introduced, they were pretty new and people were building all sort of bots, right? They were trying to build at once, like whatever is possible, whether it's a right candidate for automation or not. Still, I mean, those kind of bots are the ones which create challenges, because at the first place, the automation is not needed or not suited for that kind of a process.
Right. I think it could also be not just a right candidate. I think if it is a standardized digital process, it is definitely a good candidate, but it's not that if it is not standardized, it's not a good candidate. Because one of the things that usually business ignore or don't even think of is standardizing the process first, because it's very painful activity, and anything that is painful is definitely for some benefit. But sometimes organizations do not do that or go through that particular pain or churn to make that as a simple process, because and then there could be valid reasons, because it has a lot of dependencies on external factors, it has a lot of dependencies on compliance, etc. So there could be some valid reasons not to do that, but it can be really done if done properly, and then it can become a right candidate is what I mean.
Yeah. With that, a little bit a personal side of a question, like if you were to automate one thing in your personal life with any kind of automation, not only RPA, any automation, what it would be and why?
I think we are getting into an age where everything will get automated, right? So I understand that question. I would say, menial works like dishwashing would be the first thing on my list, because that's everyone, I believe it would be on everyone's list, and that should go out. So that would be the top one. And then, of course, other menial works of cleaning house, keeping the house organized would be the second one. Just on a lighter note.
Actual physical robot. I mean, you want it to work for you.
Awesome. Yeah, just like that lady robot from Richie Rich. She used to clean everything.
Good. Super.
I would love to have that.
Just to lighten up things, I'll just throw a few rapid fire questions, and I expect you to answer within 10 seconds, probably.
Okay. 10 seconds is good amount of time.
Super.
I'll try.
Yeah. So, single most tedious task you would automate with RPA. This is specifically RPA.
Getting the right file.
Okay. In your opinion, best industry suited for RPA implementation?
I think there is no one best suited industry. So I would say since it's agnostic, right? It's all.
Okay. Robots taking over our job. It's a myth or like going to happen?
It has already happened.
No more a myth.
Robots have taken a lot of work already. Yeah.
That's true.
But I mean, I can expand on that, but we can take it for later. But I will explain why I'm saying so.
Sure. AI for good or AI for bad? What are your thoughts on responsible AI development?
I would say for next 20-30 years, it is for good. But if we keep on exploiting way too much, I think it might be for bad. Like in the movies.
Yeah.
Not that bad, but bad.
Good answer. Most surprising use case that you have seen of AI in most recent times?
You want to answer me from the automation perspective or just anything?
Anything. I mean, in AI in general.
Misusing AI for spreading false information.
Deep fakes. Good. Awesome. So with that, let's move on to another question.
Sure.
So if you are here, like kind of a tech background you have and the kind of leadership roles you have played, so it will be not justice if I don't ask you about plus RPA and hyperautomation. So you might have got the sense of the question. I would like you to throw some light and share your views on how the industry is moving and what is the role AI going to play.
Sure. So if you look at, we are just starting, and all the leaders would say the same. We are just starting with the AI. We have a very, very long way to go, because this is essentially, I heard it somewhere, one of the leaders speak that the computers and what we have right now is something that what we have right now on AI. So long way to go, lot of unexplored territories, lot of unimaginable, unthoughtful things are to be coming on AI. So we'll keep thinking about how we can implement AI, right? So a lot of possibilities. So I would say again, with that, hyper automation is a reality. We can do many things. Hyper automation, RPA plus AI, Gen AI, everything can do lot of the things that we want to achieve, which we were thinking that if AI would be here, we can do this, that. Now we see that it is happening. Typically, if you see intelligent capturing, intelligent document extraction, all of that is now a reality, which we were thinking 5 years ago. If this can be really done and this happens, this would be good. So it is happening now. And it's just like while we are driving car, we just say, hey, there is traffic, why can't I fly my car? We now see drone cabs coming into play, and it will happen eventually. We see pizza getting delivered by a flying man. So everything will happen, is happening, and it will happen on a commercial scale. So everything from a basic automation to hyper automation to intelligent automation is happening.
So audiences get confused with intelligent automation, hyper automation. What are these terms actually? If you help our audiences to simply, like in layman term, if you can just describe what actually these terms.
So now see, automation is a very wide term, and because we are into RPA space, we only restrict to ourselves on that. If you really look into automation, it can be any kind of automation, right? But talking specifically around RPA, with the Gen AI disruption, I think a lot of things are possible. Natural language processing is helping too much into the automations, because how to perceive, how to interpret emails, how to go through large contracts, understand, get a gist of it, get a summarization of it. All of this is now a reality with Gen AI. Playing around with a lot of huge text blocks and contracts, getting the right information is now happening. So I would say this is happening right now, and that is hyper automation would always include the the vanilla RP, one step ahead, going into a different application, doing more. What, let's say, for example, you're capturing a lot of user interactions in a system. You're going one level inside the application. At the same time, you're doing this with multiple application, more data mining, more giving value of the business to the key stakeholders. I think everything that is going one or two level below what automation used to do, the vanilla RPA used to do, I think that's hyper automation. You're not just sticking to the surface automation. You're also going into the database. You're deriving something from the data, actual data. You are real time working with the responses of your customers. I think that's hyper automation. When you do it with the help of Gen AI, that becomes intelligent automation. Now there can be one more level where we can look into it, and one of the past experiences that we had when one of our customers, where I recommended, you keep, although that is not a possibility now, but we are not away from, so you keep recording the data, because data is the new currency. Everybody says that. And why is that so? So if you, let's say, I have automated one particular scenario, one particular use case or a functionality, and that keeps working and keeps recording the data into the database. Now if we use Gen AI to leverage that data and bring up value, not just from companies, businesses, enterprises are already using these kind of data from business perspective, how I should position my business, which product should I bring in next. Think from a IT perspective. There is a lot of data inside the database. If you have good amount of data logged for the bots, for the application, that you can leverage, analyze, and come to a conclusion. Hey, you know what? My 90% of problems are because of this particular module. We fix it. That happens manually, but now with Gen AI, that will happen, more intelligently, and it will give laundry list of 4 or 5 items you need to improve in your application or bot. And that's why I stress this a lot to my developers, my architects, that logging is very important, because it will give you benefits later. And that's what big companies are doing. What they're doing is logging more and more data. That is because to improve something, you need to have some data. Data is currency.
Very well said that. I mean, I really agree, and I think anybody who listens to this conversation would second that. With that, Urvish, let's move to the next question. There are a lot of intelligent automations being developed, or there's a mix of RPA plus Gen AI solutions, right? So what are some of the ethical considerations that business should keep in mind while implementing such solutions?
Yeah, I think right now with almost 100% of the implementations that we are doing, and I have seen, I don't see bad intentions. Governments and all the policymakers, they are ensuring that the data is secure. We are using the right data. So I think most of the organizations are working on ethical practices. There are code of conducts on AI. How should we use AI? What should we do? But it's sometimes it happens with general public, not just developers, that we use AI. We misuse it. I think so. Right education, right knowledge, what is ethical, what is unethical, should be imparted to the developing community as well as the general community. I think too early, but not if it's not too late. There should be some small chapters in schools as that you would be getting into the AI age. So I think what is ethical, what is unethical. Simply taking Dipendra picture and creating a cartoon of it is not good, right? Dipendra, you would not like it. So I think people do that. That is unknowingly you're doing something unethical. It is unethical because I've not taken permission from Dipendra to create a cartoon of him, right? If I say, hey Dipendra, would you be okay if I make a cartoon of yours? You would say, okay, I don't mind if it is for healthy reason. Then it is proper. But if you're not doing that, it is unethical.
Got it.
You're basically stealing, right?
Yeah,
and stealing is wrong.
Yeah, and it's happening on social media.
Yeah.
Cool. So, Urvish, I think a little bit of a personal side of a question again. So, the role that you're playing in your current organization is quite challenging at times. You get burned out or something like that, right? It's a amount of work. And I remember working you in the past, so I know you, the kind of efforts you put in until the problem gets resolved. You just don't let it go. So, considering all these facts and the ways of working, what you do to unwind yourself? Because everybody needs a break, right? Break from the regular stuff that we do. Otherwise, we'll just burn out. So, what is that you do outside of your work?
Yeah. So One of the quickest thing to do is I'm a foodie, so I keep exploring a lot of different options. What's new, what's innovative, what's tasty. So that's one thing, because my food is my go-to stress buster. The other thing is I play with my kids a lot. I'll try to see I get uh, uninterrupted attention to them. I will play with them, even if it is like 5-10 minutes. You get refreshed. Having that, and I like to drive. Uh, if something is way too beyond, I will just take my car and I'll just stroll around for a few 10-20 kilometers, and I'll come back. So that's one thing. Other than that, if I get, typically on weekends, since last 1.5 year, I was creating some artwork for my daughter, so with wood. So that was one.
Awesome. So guys, Urvish shared some quick tips, some very very quick ones to recharge yourself, like playing with your kids. Obviously, if you are not married, but you can find one for yourself. Everybody has their set of stress busters, right? So you can fall back on them. And yeah, sure.
I think it is important to unwind yourself, because stress or depressions are very common these days, and then it's of no use. You are impacting yourself long term. So I would suggest keep unwinding, keep. Many people meditate. I want to meditate. I don't, but it's a very good thing to do. I would recommend yoga, meditating. If everything is mental, so if you keep your mental calmness, I think there is nothing better than that. Do everything that you can to release your stress.
Yeah, I think because in our industry, it's a continuous evolving industry, and you have to be upskilled. I mean, the feature that you are using, after 2-3 months, there are 10 set of features that you need to upskill yourself. So that's kind of adding to a stress, because you have a day job, you have to upskill, you have to do a lot of other things as well. So yeah, everybody should take some time to unwind yourself, recharge yourself, so that you can work with full force and full energy and mental peace. Yeah. Awesome. That was a very good perspective, Urvish, and thanks for sharing those insights. How can automation be leveraged to enhance customer experience and their satisfaction?
Okay. So first of all, we need to understand what a customer wants, right? And how does the customer want it? I mean, of course, one is the time. We need to understand that they need it fast, and they need quality, right? So if we are automating something that can eventually a better time to market as well as with quality, I think that's where everyone should focus. So there are layers. You cannot just achieve that directly. There would be a lot of things. Let's say, for example, I'm going to an ATM, right? And forget about UPI. UPI is very quick. If I'm going to ATM and I have a card, if I tap my card and pin and just enter the amount, and immediately that cash comes, right? But you see what happens when the ATM does it, and then it will come out, because it is essentially counting some notes. It is doing a lot of things in background. If we go from the ATM perspective, we know what is happening and we stay calm. But if I am customer of ATM, what I want is tap, pin a number, and the cash comes out within a second, right? So if we think from a developer perspective, how we can do that better, how we can do this, I think how my automation will help the end customer in a better way. Just doing for the sake of doing it will not help, right? The intention should be how the end result is coming out.
So with that, Urvish, the next question that comes in my mind is, you have started your career as a software development, and then ladder by ladder you have grown. So you have grown from a technical to a people management to managing and delivering the projects, right? So all kind of experience, and you have seen, you have lived. So what advice would you like to give to someone who is aiming for such transition? For example, they're very continuously working into tech stack, but they want to move or transition themselves. Any suggestions or any advice?
Yeah. One thing what I feel is you need to know whether you just want to grow, or you really have that within yourself that you want to do management, right? I'm not into management because I am very good at managing people, because I'm very good at delivering very nicely. I'm into management because and it's not my choice. It's the way things shape up, right? If it is only up to getting into management, then I would say even if it takes time, that's okay. Even if it takes maybe 1 or 2 more years, or maybe 4 or 5 years, it's okay. It's how to interpret things. I think I am technical, but I'm not as good technically than most of the folks I work with in the company are. I really feel that person who wants to grow can grow even in technical field. So if they are very good technically and they want to stay technically, I would say stay technical. It's not just every time growing into a ladder, that is important. I'm not discouraging promotions here, but what I'm saying is if you really like it and if you're good at it, you will continuously grow. But if you really think, I have known few individuals who were really good with managing people, getting things done from people, delegating it pretty nicely. I think they are more suited to the management role because they can handle that. I think if you are good at delegations, that's how you should choose a management. And I think everyone is important. So everyone has good role. You just need to be in the right place, and that works for you and you can grow. So sometimes that growth tenure is less or high. For me, I was technical. My initial fresher days were not so technical, but eventually I started getting technical. I started liking coding, and I did a lot of coding, troubleshooting, support, maintenance. As I earlier said, right, when you are in the churn, you don't like it, but when you look at the look in the past, you really say, hey, that was nothing. So that will keep on happening. Don't worry about if you're in churn. Keep working on it. It will definitely give you a result. But the main thing is your intent should be good. Your intent is what really matters, be it if you're developing, if you're growing, again, in career as well. Intent should be good. It's not, I want to be a manager, I want to be a director, I want to be a VP, I want to be a CEO. That is fine. If your intent at present are good, you will definitely grow. And that's the key takeaway. What I think should be that keep good intentions, keep working, and if you have interest and you like doing that, keep doing that. You will excel. There is no other way.
Yeah, that's a very good point, Urvish. Yeah, and I think people should do a self-evaluation. That would be a best way to know where they stand and what they like. Basically, if they do what they like, obviously the
Absolutely.
end result is a growth. Yeah, awesome. With that, one more question related to this career guidance. So, for someone they're starting their journey into automation and RPA space, right, what is the one skill or a set of skills that you recommend mastering them?
Okay. The very first thing for any developer is logic, right? If you're logically good, and that's what is very important from even the people interviewing, that you look at the logic, you try to evaluate the problem solving capability, and you see if the person has good attitude and intent. I think that will help a particular person who wants to be in RPA space. When it comes to technically tackling the problems, as I said, observation, pattern recognition, and getting that into the logic that we are talking about is really important. So it's a skill of multiple things put together in a right way. Observing what is happening, how we should do it. Think from a very open mind that if particular thing is not available to automate on the UI, is there a backdoor entry? Can I go to the database and get something? Is there an API? Ask a lot of questions, because again, the intent is important. You want to automate. The intent is to automate by this way or that way. You have to automate. Asking right questions, exploring more options is what, let's say, something is not possible via RPA, right? I think that's a very less area, very small area where things are not possible with RPA, but there are still there. So let's explore more. Maybe you write a Python script and call it from the RPA. So eventually, what you need to do is you need to automate, and RPA will then act as a combining platform or a converging platform for all these automations. So think from a perspective that if it is not getting automated, I remember earlier days when we were trying to automate one big ERP solution. It was not possible by capturing the objects. So writing VB scripts. So it's not that you have to use RPA, but it is, you should automate. And in many of the successful enterprises who have automated thousands and thousands of bots go this way. That if it is not possible, let's not spend too much time. Let's not criticize what we have at hand. Let's find a way, move along. So I think keep moving. That should be the goal.
So thanks for sharing your insights on this, Urvish. And I remember from our rapid fire, there was one topic or one question that we wanted to double click on. So let me ask you that. So it was about bots taking over our jobs, right? You wanted to elaborate on this. It's no more a myth. It's actually happening in some sectors.
Yes. So, when we say, I'll take a couple of decades a step back. When computers came in, everybody was really, really anxious. Computers will take away our job. When we had internet coming along, lot of people had, they were anxious because the computers will take away our job. So, but if you see, the more people get involved in these technologies, they create more jobs as well. I'm not the exact numbers, but just to give an analogy, if there were 20 to 30% job cut because of computers created maybe 120 jobs more, right? If it's about how you reskill yourself and adapt yourself, if not into technology A, maybe technology B, which suits you more, it would work out. So for example, I'm not understanding Python or I'm not understanding AI. I don't like that technology. Okay, I'm very good at creating AI avatars and apps like Crunchyroll and all are coming in. I'm an innovative, creative cartoonist. I might want to go there. So is not just killing job; it is killing job for those who don't want to adapt. So if you adapt, there is always a way out. So and then that's how you see most of the people reskilling, but those who do not want to adapt and reskill, I think they will face challenges. So my recommendation would be it never cuts jobs in a holistic view, but it creates more jobs.
Yeah. So if you adapt, then it acts as an enabler for yourself. Like you can do a lot of
Yes.
jobs and enhances your productivity. The technology is an enabler. How you perceive that matters. So it was nice talking to you, Urvish. We come towards the end of this discussion. I would like to go on, and you have a lot of insights
Definitely.
to share. But yeah, being mindful of time. Anything you would like to share your experience coming to this podcast?
It was good. I think this is my first podcast, so I was a little bit anxious as well. How would it go? I think it was just a conversation. So thanks for hosting this up and, making it very easy to go.
Thank you so much. I mean, it was my pleasure to have you on the show and you sharing all the insights. Hopefully, it will be value add for the audience, and we'll
Definitely.
collaborate on more such topics.
Absolutely. Love to do that.
Thank you so much, Urvish. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Good day to you too, Dipendra. Thank you very much.